Welcome to Broadcast Show Live. Well, for regular viewers, you may notice a slight set change, and we'll be telling you about this, plus everything that's going on right after this. So stay tuned. So first up tonight is Chris from New Tech. Now, we met him last show and chatted over the TriCaster range. Tonight we are using the flagship TriCaster 8000, and Chris will give us a quick run through on the setup we've got here. We'll chat to him later in the show, and he'll hopefully be answering some of your questions in the chat room. And what's the chat room, well, you ask? Well, hopefully it's somewhere up here in a minute. You might see it. We'll see. The chat room is below us. If you're watching us on the website, and that's the Broadcast Show website, which is broadcastshow.com/live, you'll find a little link at the bottom there where you can log in with a username. You don't need any password, so feel free to sign in, and we're monitoring that chat room. You can ask as many questions as you want. Please make them clean. With BVE just round the corner, James will be appearing somewhere in this virtual set with the latest news. And if you've used a green screen before, you'll know that lighting is literally the key, as I say, to success. Now, we're hoping that David from Serialite will make it here. He is doing his very best, but he's been stuck on a film set, I believe, most of the day. So he's winging his way here. If he can't make it, what we'll do is we'll have him on another show. So we'll play that one by ear. Also, even if you're not a football supporter, then I'm sure you'll enjoy a little short film we made last week looking at the fibre and streaming network at Aston Villa Football Club. And we'll also have a new book launch to look at, and we will be talking to its author later on in the show as well. And finally, on the show, we have Mark from Bristol VFX, and we'll be chatting about green screens, paint, bodysuits, as well as announcing the winner of the green screen competition and the runners-up, who will each win one of the 5 new filmmaking books I've got just below this desk here. Right, first of all, we have Chris Waddington again. Hello. Hello. From New Tech, and Chris, we are in a virtual set. We are. And if I have a little drawer just here below where I can take things out from below my desk, including my little notes here. So we've obviously set up here with a TriCaster 8000. We have indeed, yes. Tell us a little bit about the setup and what we're running here at the moment.
So we're running the TriCaster 8000, as you said. We have various cameras around the studio, and obviously throughout the show today, we'll be able to cut from various different camera angles, and just really show how easy it is and how simple it is to deliver what we like to think of as a very high production value for a very low cost. And obviously we've got a green screen system here behind us, and we're going to show lots of different types of sets and so on and so forth. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good show.
It is. It's amazing what you can do. I mean, we are working in a very tight.
It's very cramped.
Small green screen, and yet we can be in this massive studio. It's amazing. Now we're going to obviously get you on hopefully later in the show and answer a few questions. But before we do, we did have one question that came in, so we thought we'll ask this now. TriCaster is obviously well known for use in OB trucks, and what's the sort of percentage split between people using these in a fixed studio and those in an OB truck? Is it, where are they more OB truck orientated, or are they more fixed studio? How does that work?
In terms of the split, I mean, I honestly don't think I could answer that accurately. I would say, from speaking to a lot of our customers and a lot of the installations I've attended, I would say the split is fairly even, to be honest with you. Again, depending on the units, but I mean, even the 8000 we're seeing in flyaway kits and installed into OB vans, and we see a lot of, for example, even the small TriCaster 40 going into educational establishments and even schools as a fixed studio installation as well. So they really go everywhere. Really everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, talking about everywhere, we do know that at some point there's a chap who's put a 455 into a new OB truck, and he's going to come on and hopefully talk about that in another show. So we'll look forward to that. In the meantime, Chris, I'm going to send you back to your proper job, which is controlling the TriCaster at the moment, which is great. And hopefully we'll get you on and answering some more questions later on in the show.
Okay.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much, Chris.
Thank you.
So that's Chris, who is now going to run away, and we will be whipping his mic off as soon as we possibly can, because we're working with just 2 mics here today. I must get some more of those. And what we're going to do is have a little bit of news, and we have, as always, a guest news presenter. While we're doing that, he's from BVE, and James will be with us shortly. Here's a little 30-second promo for BVE that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So there we go. Well, as most UK viewers will know, BVE has moved from its Earl's Court home to Excel, and it's all happening in a little over 10 days' time. Now, I've got James here from BVE to give us a bit of an insight into what we all can expect.
Thanks, John. Well, as John said, starting on the 26th of February, Excel will fill with over 350 brands, showcasing their latest broadcast and production technologies as we get ready to open the doors of BVE at our new home in Excel. So what will be new, you ask? Well, what's going to be different this year? All in all, there'll be 220 hours of free educational seminars, case studies and discussions for all visitors, all free to attend. We've also added 2 new theatres this year, the Cinematography and Live Production Theatre and the Connected Out Theatre. The Cinematography and Live Production Theatre will focus on the art and craft of shooting professional content for features, lighting techniques, as well as the latest studio cameras for live production. In the Connected Out Theatre, you'll be able to find out more about delivering and monetising content across multiple platforms and devices. The other theatres will cover everything from 4K, production and post, to IT and broadcast and audio. Our lineup of expert speakers includes famous faces, Larry Jordan and Philip Bloom, and a host of representatives from the BBC, EBU, Channel 5 and Sky News. If you check our website, you'll see many newly released products being showcased at BVE for the first time in the UK, and in some cases internationally. For example, Sony will be showcasing its full F-Series large camera sensor lineup, including the F65 4K digital camera. Holden will be showcasing their Data Video HS2800 portable integrated production studio. Glycan will be introducing their new series of camera sliders, and NewTek will show its full range of TriCaster live production solutions. There's a few too many to mention now, but please do visit our website, and even better the show, to find out more about the new launches. There'll also be some great discounts on offer from the exhibitors. And in case you're wondering what's the best way to get to Excel, well, we recommend you take the Jubilee line where possible and change into the DLR. Remember to take the tube to Custom House for the Beckton-bound train and alight at Customs House for Excel. To make it easy, we'll have lots of friendly dressed staff in green along the route to point you in the right direction, so please say hello. And John, I hear there's a studio streaming live footage from the show.
Yes, thanks, James. Yes, we'll be uprooting the studio and taking the live show to BVE, and we'll be broadcasting at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. each day, as well as roaming interviews in the morning. So we're all looking forward to it. Now, finally, James, where can we find out more?
Well, this is easy. Visit www.bvexpo.com, where you can see all the exhibitors, the full seminar programme, and register for your free tickets. You can also download the BVE app for Apple and Android devices, and follow us on Twitter at BVExpo.
Thanks, James. OK, so now we are in show mood, and our next guest will whet your appetite. But guess what? He's not straight here. This was going to be David from Sewerlight, and he's still not quite made it. It sounds a bit odd, but he will hopefully make it. If not, we'll do him another day, as I said earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut over to this video that I shot at Aston Villa's Villa Park football ground last week, where they were talking about replacing a lot of their old standard def equipment with HD and fibre networks. So have a quick look at this. I'm here at Villa Park, the home of Aston Villa Football Club, and you may ask, why are we here? Well, last summer They ripped out their old PAL standard def TV systems that they had here, and they're putting some nice HD systems with the help of Blackmagic. I sat Nick Finney down, who's involved in the whole of the installation, to have a little chat with him, and he explained what went on.
Well, the sort of primary role at the club is to take in all the various feeds that we have in and around a match day, bring them all in, then distribute them around the ground. So all the hospitality TVs, which we operate an IPTV system, all the big screens we've got in stadium. We've also got LED boards inside and outside the stadium. So we've got rotating screens in the car park, as well as a scoreboard and 2 big video screens in the stadium. So essentially sort of bringing all that together on a match day, and also all throughout the week we have, you know, extensive hospitality sort of venues which we hire out all through the week. So yeah, we do quite a lot of non-match specific stuff through the week as well. So it's just essentially tying all that in, running all that on a daily basis. Previously, before the Blackmagic install that we put in the summer just gone, some of the cabling and some of the equipment dated back to the dark ages pretty much. We had a lot of cabling that we knew where it started and where it ended, but had no idea where it went in between. And we also relocated. We had various little control areas for independent things, and it was really bitty and didn't really work. There was an area that we were having to use up on the gantry, so you know, Saturday night when we're playing our TV block out, there was nobody except for you in an empty stadium, which wasn't great. So we basically wanted just to try and to bring all that in into a more up-to-date digital workflow. Because again, we were still working with VT, so it was harder for us to bring things in at the last minute. And all the equipment that we were using specifically for match day was leased as well, so financially it wasn't really making sense. Well, the main sort of change now is the fact that everything is in one place. And again, with purely logistically and with the size of the equipment that we used to have, that just wasn't possible for us to, with the space that we've got, we just couldn't do it previously. So now everything's seated centrally. We've got fibre running to various points. We've got camera pitch side, camera up on the gantry, and we also obviously take the OB feeds in via HD SDI from the OB park. So essentially all that's now tunneled into to the one room, so we can control everything. So we not only run the matchday screens and everything else, we also run our internal IPTV system from the same room, and we also put together our international TV block, which goes out to the broadcasters. The fibre runs that we decided to put in, previously it was cabled, and we looked at potentially doing SDI, but with the costs involved in over the distances that we were travelling, fibre just seemed to make a lot more sense to us. We also, whilst pulling fibres through, dropped through a few spares as well, just for a bit of headroom and expansion. And when it came to actually installing the fibres, we found the process to be relatively straightforward. I mean, to certain areas we already had existing cable runs, obviously with the Sky infrastructure that's already in, and Sky again ran fibres for their 3D install, because we're one of the stadiums that's set up now for 3D games. So that, again, the company we used to run the fibre knew the stadium quite well, and cost-wise, you know, it seemed pretty cost-effective for us to do that. We did have a few issues with the ground being the way it is, because some of our stands are standalone, so the runs to get from one place to the other aren't necessarily that easy, purely because of the age of some of the stands. But to be honest, again, with the sort of thickness of fibre that you're dealing with, it's not the same as having to pull through a multi-core of you know, essentially to be used for SDI. So we found it quite a relatively straightforward process. Currently, obviously, we take in an HD SDI feed from the OB, but all our IPTV system is still SD. So looking forward to obviously trying to eventually bring everything up to HD. We need to bring some HD ingest blades in for us to be able to do that. But obviously now we've got the fibre sort of connectivity between the various areas. It shouldn't really be too much trouble to actually sort of get in between those areas. Whereas again previously, with the distances involved, it wouldn't have been great trying to get HD signals down those runs. Aside from the OB feed and other feeds that we've got coming in on match day, we have, for example, the pitch side camera which comes in. So all the stuff pre-match and at half time, we've got a guy pitch side who presents the camera essentially. We've got an HD SDI feed going from the camera straight into the Blackmagic camera converter, which is then in turn fed back to the studio converter via fibre into our studio. That then in turn is switched into our video hub, which gives us, the flexibility to put any of our feeds anywhere, and then in turn that also ends up on our production switcher, and then ultimately the output is controlled either via the actual Atom panel or the software interface that we use for our other output. The install we put in the summer is pretty much made up of a lot of Blackmagic equipment, and the ease of which it is to integrate and also to use, it's pretty much made the whole thing quite pain-free, and the scale of things that we were doing and pulling in, there was a possibility of it turning into quite an awkward install, but most of the stuff that we've used, particularly Blackmagic stuff, just seems to work. It all works quite well with each other. People coming in on a match day, so we have different freelancers coming in, broadcast engineers, they all know how to use it. There's no real training involved. Anybody who's used a vision mixer can use the panel. The software side's self-explanatory, and we haven't had any real issues with any of the equipment. The support has been great when we've needed to speak to anybody at Blackmagic. Everything as it stands now is just working.
Well, that was a quick look at what Aston Villa have put in, obviously with the help of Blackmagic. It's quite amazing what you can do these days with a small room. And talking about small room, you have asked on the chat room about some kind of reveal of what we're working with here. Well, let's give you some idea. If we cut over to this camera, you can see this is looking in at the TriCaster. That's me over there. Hello there. Hello. We'll show you more of the green screen a little bit later. It's a 3x2 meter green screen we've got behind us. And a little bit later on, when Mark from Bristol VFX comes on, we'll show you a little bit more of what's going on, and we'll switch the keys off and things, and you can have a good look at what's going on around us. In the meantime, I mentioned about a new book, which is this one. This is the Digital Filmmaking Handbook. And look, there it is. It's come up on screen. Look at that lovely shot. Written by Mark Brindle, who is with us here. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Tom.
Now, Mark, if this is a new book, and we'll get onto the book in a minute. But first, you run a production company and a hire company.
Yes, I run a production company. We do all sorts of different production types, but we also hire out equipment too. So the book, I suppose, is kind of a culmination of doing various amounts, different types of work over the last quite a few years.
So how long have you been running now then?
We're celebrating 10 years this year. That's from absolutely first time picking up a camera when I started the company. So it's all self-taught. Yep. I used to be doing telecommunications and networking for many years before that. So something completely kind of non-creative, I suppose. Yep. So it's been a big learning curve. It's a constant learning curve.
So obviously you've written this book. You're used to working with lots of new equipment for a start, and you hire out this equipment.
Yes.
What sort of kit? I mean, it's always changing, isn't it? There's always new stuff coming
There's always
up.
new stuff.
So
there's always new stuff that might be coming soon.
Yep.
We're still waiting on some kit we ordered recently.
Yep.
I've got the Sony PMW 200 in now. We've just got the Wi-Fi dongle for that coming the end of this week, I believe, so that we can operate that remotely over Wi-Fi.
And the 200 happens to be what's pointing to you right at the moment.
Exactly.
It's a
good camera, very good camera. does 50 megabits per second, 422 on the camera itself, which is good. 5D Mark III, we got in. I've been putting off the 5D for a long time. We've had 7Ds, quite a few of those in, but and we also got Red Rock follow focus, remote follow focus system in.
Oh, okay.
From the States, although that's been in the box since I got it. Unfortunately, haven't had a chance to.
Say it's been people have been waiting for that for a while,
yes,
as well, haven't they? It's been
about 4 years.
Yeah, it's been always just about to come out, and now it's finally available, is it? Ah,
yes, and we've got one. It's not on the website yet for hire, but it's in the office there waiting. So there's other kit. We've got the Teradek Bolt. That's paid for but not arrived yet.
I think that's happened for quite a few people at the moment. The Bolt, a lot of people are waiting for that one as well. Could be a bit of a game changer, I think, on that one.
Well, I think so. For Steadicam or crane or jib, where you need a second operator, especially with a remote follow focus that you can operate wirelessly.
Yes, because it is truly zero latency, isn't it, as well? So you can use it.
Yeah. And with the 5D Mark III, when the firmware comes out for being able to record out of the
clean output,
we can use it from there too. So yeah, we got the Atomos Samurai in recently too, and the HDMI Connect that you can use to record HDMI or HDSDI.
Brilliant piece of kit.
I've
played and owned one myself. I think it's fantastic. Now we're going to talk about this book in a minute, but I heard that, as you know, we got a green screen here. Didn't you recently have to green screen a horse? And horses are the subject of a lot of things at the moment.
Yes, indeed.
So it's only fair that we talk green screen and horses.
It was alive, the horse. It didn't get burnt when it whacked into a few of the lights, but it was yes.
Why a horse? What was the?
It was for a client of ours who was wanting to do the Old Spice. Have you ever seen any of the Old Spice
I'm old enough to remember the Old Spice adverts.
But not the kind of really old ones where the horses coming out of the sea. This is the latest ones where they do a lot of visual effects with no cuts.
Yeah.
But obviously the budget we had, we couldn't do no cuts. Sure. So in that particular video, they have a horse, and the chap ends up from being in the shower into a horse, and so our client wanted to be on a horse, but he wanted to be on the moon at the same time.
Of course, as you do.
Yeah. Well, he had horses, but unfortunately, we didn't have quite as good a green screen set up, quite as big a space to work in.
Right.
So
it was fun.
It was fun, and it worked kind of, but we ended up cleaning it up a lot in Photoshop to get the edges right, and I wouldn't do it that way again, unfortunately.
So while we've got you here, obviously one of the main things is, I'll take it from my desk here, is the book.
Yes.
Now this is so new.
So new.
That
hot off the press.
It is literally hot off the press, and
you've probably got the only 2 copies.
And I think we actually at the moment have the only copies available.
Although you're giving away.
We are giving more away.
Yes.
Which have yet to be printed, but
sounds of it.
But will be winging their way to winners shortly.
But it is out 28th of February.
Yep.
It's going to be on Amazon. It's going to be in all good bookshops as well. Or you can go to the Quercus.com website. Right. They're the publisher. And
I've been looking through it, and it's a great book. It covers so much. I mean, who's it aimed at? Who would you say the target audience for this book is?
I think there's quite a broad range of people that would want to be involved in reading that. If you've done a bit of filmmaking of any kind, if you've got a mobile phone, there's something you can get from the book in terms of things like framing or setting the white balance. If you've got an app that lets you do things like that, it covers lots of different things like equipment. But there's a whole load of sections on scripts, planning, productions, different roles in film on larger productions, with other sections on, corporate videography, interviews, filming sports, filming kids, things like that. Loads of stuff on colour grading and post-production side. And, it covers the whole spectrum really from beginning to end. So I think there's a lot of things for anyone. There's tips and tricks in there that, things I've picked up from working. I've worked on a few feature films as focus puller, doing colour grading, as well as doing a lot of corporate type work and music videos and other projects. And
brilliant.
Yeah, it's kind of a culmination of
I mean,
all that really.
I've had a brief look through it as we've had this book in a couple of days now, and it is very readable. It's not full of jargon that you're not going to understand unless you've been in the business 25 years.
Yeah.
And
we tried to reduce the jargon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a glossary on the back for some
Yeah.
terms. I mean, there's obviously acronyms in there for various things.
Yep.
But you need to learn some of those acronyms
Absolutely.
anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's quite approachable.
And as you say, it covers everything. We've got focus pulling in here. You've got filming live music, all about sound recording, sound basics, filters, matte boxes. Basically, a section on just about everything you could possibly need to know in order to become a successful videographer, filmmaker.
There's enough depth in there, I think, and there's enough to get you through the process. It's not going to cover everything in enough depth for it gives you a good starting point, I think, to investigate some of the areas more. But yeah,
brilliant.
I'm pleased with it.
Now this is, again, you mentioned due out on the 28th?
28th
of February.
Yeah.
You did mention it before. Where people can get this is...
You can get it it'll be in bookshops. I believe someone told me it was in Amazon.com already. There's a placeholder for it. Quercus is the publisher. Quercus.
Something
like that. It's on the back of the book.
It is. Yep.
Yep. So you can get it from their website too.
Brilliant.
And it should be. They did a photography book last year, which was distributed in the same way.
Right.
It did, became bestseller because of the form factor. They followed the same type of thing. It's $9.99 I think retail, which is pretty reasonable for hardback.
Excellent. Now, just I got it. You're right. It's written on the back. The website, if you want to find out a bit more about it from the publishers, is quercusbooks.co.uk. That's QUERCUS books.co.uk.
Excellent.
And again, Amazon and such like. Any more books in the future pipeline for you?
I don't know. It has made me think about writing scripts.
Right.
I think I found it when I had to get into it. I was having to write sort of 8 to 10 pages a day at some stages. There was quite a tight deadline. I wrote it over most of last summer, and once you're doing it, once the words start flowing, it was good. So it gave me more confidence, I think, to start thinking about writing. Yeah.
Mark, well, thank you very much. It looks an excellent book, and I will certainly have to buy one for my son for a start, who's really into filmmaking. He will learn a lot from it.
Excellent.
Hopefully it sells well, and
yeah.
and we'll get you on again, maybe talking about future books and things written by yourself.
Well, we'll see what...
When you turn up in your Mercedes from writing loads of very successful books and things in the future, Mark. But thank you very much. And if people want to find out more about Maniac Films...
Yes, they can contact me through the website, maniacfilms.com, and I will be doing some training courses, I think. We obviously got the equipment rental side to the business, where kit can be hired at quite reasonable rates.
Excellent.
And also if anyone wants video productions, then give me a ring.
Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate coming on. So that's Mark Brindle from Maniac Films, and that book, which I have to say is excellent, I really do like it, is going to be available from the 28th of this month. And have a look on Amazon, keep track on it, you'll see it on there. And he will obviously be giving away 5 of those books to somebody by the end of this show. And we've got some of them here, and the others will be going straight out to you. So let's move on a little bit to about how we set up this studio, and we did it with the help of Bristol VFX, and we're going to run a little bit of a time lapse here. And now this is the green screen being set up. Now it is a small area that we've got to work in, and for the it's amazing what you can do in a small area. Obviously we've had James on reading the news. We've got 2 people here, and depending on the time and things, we might be able to show a few of these extra shots and things that we've got coming in, showing how we can actually set up these really wide views of a studio from a very small green screen area. So as you can see, we used a fabric screen in this case. It's a screen held together by bungees. We'll learn a bit more about it on a framework that's just set up. So it is on a curve, and there's the side bits going on. It does go up remarkably quickly, not quite as quick as you're watching there. And there we have it. It's just about in. That's the green screen. What we're going to do is have a chat with, as that's running on. There we go. Hi, this is Mark. Hello, Mark. Another Mark.
Yeah, another Mark.
Another
yes.
Mark from Bristol VFX. Thank you for coming on. We're going to probably stick on this 2 shots so you can show us things nice and simply. So the whole thing here is obviously a green screen, and can we pull away the key? Let's pull away the key if we can. I'm going to throw it out there, see whether we can do this. There's the bit gone from us. Let's see whether we can. Oh, look. So there we go. This is the shot that you're seeing on the 2 shot with Mark and me in the studio, and this is your green screen behind. Look at that. There we are. And so everything you're seeing is based around the couple of cameras pointing to us at this green screen here. So tell us a little bit, first of all, about, I mean, I'm sure people know, but a little bit more about the green screening. You know, how's it working? What's the key for, I keep saying key, there's no pun intended, but to having a good green screen?
Well, I think you need to have good saturated colour.
Yeah.
You want it non-reflective, which it isn't, which it is, and that's your main part of it. And predominantly the industries use green and blue.
Yeah.
We actually have 2 greens and 3 blues, because the film industry tends to have more parameters they work from.
Yeah.
Whereas this particular green, which is called optic green, or some people call it digi-green, is by far the most popular colour. And in the main, it's conflict of colour, really. If I was wearing green suit, then parts of me would key out.
Yep.
I mean, it's like if I show you on the green of this, you can see it keying out.
Yes.
Areas behind the greens.
Yep.
So that's just but both greens ironically will key out on this, because the system that TriCast have is excellent, and it doesn't cause problems.
Excellent. So the fabric that we've got behind us, I mean, is it do you have to have a special material? Is it? I mean, what I've noticed that seems to be crease free, and I've seen a lot of people put up green screens, and they've all got creases on them, but this doesn't. This looks, it looks like it's been painted on virtually.
Yeah. Well, we produce this fabric has been developed predominantly for the film industry, where they need large areas made into curtain screens. Like some of them are 300-400 feet long, 40-foot drops in one piece, and so they need it to be sturdy as well, so that it will actually stand being hung and stretched over those sort of sizes. So this particular material we use now is a brushed polyester, so it has a degree of Velcro receptivity, so you can put tracking markers on it and things like that, so that they find that useful. Also joining strips if you want to join large screens together to make a bigger area. It's then got a foam and scrim backer on it, which makes it very stable, so you've only got a minimal amount of stretch in the drop and the width, and makes it easier to seam up. And you can see on here, these are the seams where the fabric is. This particular fabric is 1.5 meters wide. And then it's seamed up to that. And people say, oh, can't you see the seams? But it doesn't, as you can see on this. It doesn't, they don't show.
I'm getting questions in my ear while I'm talking from the chat room. So I'm going to ask them as I get them in.
Sure.
And we'll keep this flowing a bit here. Somebody's just asked, can you wash this fabric?
Generally speaking, if it got very, very badly, very dirty or muddy, and you're using it outdoors, for instance, you can dry clean it. But you don't put it in a washing machine, because you'll wash out the fire retardancy out of it, and the dye can run if it got very bad. Generally speaking, a curtain steamer is all you need. Even if you screwed this up in a ball in a bag, pulled it out, within an hour it will stabilise itself, and if it did get any bad creases, you use a curtain steamer and it'll look like new again. We also have a PVC flooring that matches, which is on which you can see on, may or may not be able to see on the floor, and that cleaning again, you wipe it over with a damp cloth, mop it, and or proprietary cleaning fluid.
Excellent. Right, I'm going to ask a question here. To me, it looks green. Can't I just go to a DIY store and maybe get some green paint? Isn't that the same sort of thing?
You could do, and And a lot of people do, and for a smaller share, you know, for something you're doing maybe at home or something, it's probably perfectly okay. And depending how much time you want to spend in post-production sorting it out, if you're not getting a very good key, you know, I think the thing to look at is this is a professional material, the fabric itself, and that together with professional lighting, you'll get a good key and obviously. You know, having a good compositing system, and you'll get a good result, and you're not spending hours trying to sort it out in post.
Right. So now, obviously, we've got a fabric behind us, and this is great because it's, for starters, notice it seems to be very matte. It doesn't reflect the green light, because a lot of time you see people with green backs of their heads because it's literally bouncing off. Yeah. How does that work with your paint that you do? Because you do paint as well.
Yeah, we do indeed. We do a range of paints. You see, well, you can't see it on there, but
can't see the green.
you can't see the green. But no, the paints they're pure pigment colours. They're totally matte and non-reflective. Again, they've been developed for use for the film industry, which is where they're very, you know, they want what they want, and that has to be matte, and nothing else will do. Okay. Also, the covering of the paint, you could cover. You know, one coat, if you put it on heavily, will do the job.
Right. So we get a proper paint, we get the proper fabric. Why do we need that? I notice this because you do blues and greens. Specifically, people heard about green screens and heard about blue screens. They're the two main colours. Why would you need either? I think there's one obvious answer, but what's the difference between the blue and the green, really?
Yeah, it is probably now. I mean, traditionally they still call it blue screening, and they said, well, it's green, you know, but it's the generic name for the process, I suppose, chroma keying. Yep. And green and blue were always the main colours. These particular colours have derived from the Ultimat system, you know, where they're using it with video, where they need less light, so they're brighter colours. So we have this particular colour is optic green. We have an optic blue, which is quite a light blue in comparison, and so it means you need less light to light it. You know, and so in this day and age, there's less heat and all the other things, especially in a small studio.
So you mentioned light. Let's briefly talk about lighting it. What's the key things to lighting a green screen successfully?
Well, it needs to be lit evenly, and it seems that today the most successful sort of lighting is like you've got here, which is fluorescent lighting, and a lot of them use low energy tubes, which means you haven't got the heat, but they're nice and even. The light is even. You haven't got hot spots, which you get with conventional sort of lighting. Right. I couldn't say much of it. I'm sure you can light it just as well with LED lighting, but I haven't really any great experience with how well. In a small area like this, it's probably fine. If you're looking on large scale, like on the film industry, you just can't get the power out of the lights to light, 20 or 30 feet away.
Right. So the key is to get, I keep saying the key, but you need to get even lighting across the board of the background.
Yes, an even light,
So there's no shadows, no hot spots.
I mean, ideally, you want to have an even light that's usually set above the talent, as they call them, so they'd be above us here and lighting down and right the way down, so the lighting is behind us, and then you would have a light at the top of the screen which would backlight us, and then some front light to just bring us to give you a nice key. I think they call it a 3 light system is the generic word for it. But
so I mean we're probably going to see if we can sort out so you can see the chat room. That's the chat room. So if you've got a question, that was the chat room. There we are. So as you can see, we've got a lot of light around us, which have been kindly provided by Seal-Light, and it's very even, as you say. We're using fluorescence, low energy fluorescence. There's no heat coming off of these, and the fabric that we've got behind us is very matte. It's not reflecting that light back to us. In fact, look at that. Cunningly, here it is. So this is the fabric that you use. So tell us a little bit. We'll leave it like this. Is quite good.
So this is the fabric, and basically the machining of it. Yeah. If you look on the back, you can see it's just a simple, like making curtains. Yep. So it's a simple seam. We usually hem the outside edges. We put a webbing just to make it more sturdy, because obviously on the large screens you can have up 40 feet hung on an eyelet, and so it's eyeletted all the way around. And then we use these elasticated ties that go around your frame, and tie and tie them into the system. The beauty of the elasticated ties, you haven't got to try and do them evenly. They will even themselves up over around the frame. I mean, one of the other advantages of this type of screen in a small studio situation is where in the past people had hard Sykes, and especially for like shopping channels and things, they've usually got a lot of chat going on. The hard surfaces bounce the sound off the back, and you get a lot of echo. And we've had a lot where we supplied these screens where they've taken out the hard side, put the curtain in, because then you have an air gap between it, and it tends to take the echo out.
Gotcha.
So that's also a useful add-on to the product.
So we've got the right fabric, and we've got green or blue colours. Now I've noticed on this board that you've got two other colours there, which is what kind of looks like a red, optic red, optic yellow. Now I'm going to have to ask, at which point would you use a red and a yellow colour for keying?
Well, they're certainly not they're not the run-of-the-mill sort of colours, but they would be used in a situation a bit like if you were doing, for instance, the Teletubbies.
Okay.
You might have on there the blue, the green, and the red one, so you can't pull a key on those, so you'd use the yellow. So it's really for any conflict of colour, and you can use those too.
So it gives you an extra
Yeah,
option.
we probably sell a couple of 100 meters of those a year. You know, so but they do, at least if you've got a problem, we have a solution for it.
So that's about, obviously, we've got the screens, we know about the colours and things. There are other systems that you use. You know, I've heard about bodysuits now. I've seen people running around in green bodysuits. Is that the sort of thing that you guys produce and supply? And when would you use like a bodysuit?
Yeah, well, we use, if anyone went to IBC, they would have seen we had a young lady with a bodysuit on, which is generally used if they're in animation where they maybe have puppeteers. And so the puppets, which are these days for film, are very, very elaborate. And they might have 6 or 7 people operating it around them. So they would be in green in this particular instance. They'd be in, we make them out of green lycra, which is a bit interesting to look at. But, you know, you wouldn't go down the high street in it. But it means that you can key them out and you can have a number of people around a puppet. And once they key it out, the puppet just looks as if it's moving on its own.
Right.
And so, again, we do blues and greens. We do body parts, so you might just have a glove. So you wanted to, I mean, it's like me putting my hand behind any of these pieces of green. It'll just disappear. You can just key out the areas that you don't want.
Gotcha. So I've got another question that's coming. Somebody's just asking, is the word optic in optic green meaning anything specific? You've got optic green and deep optic green, haven't you?
Yeah.
So what's the optic refer to?
It was our name that we decided to call it because it's an optical colour, you know, and so optic was a useful word. I mean, chroma key is the generic name for this whole process, but you know, we decided to call it optic. We'd use the word optical because it's an optical system. So deep optic is like our chroma key, and the normal optic would have been the ultimate colours.
Gotcha. Excellent. No more questions from the chat room at the moment, which is great. One more question. BVE, are you going to be there?
Yeah, we are indeed. Yeah, we've got a stand there, and we co-exhibit with another company to display the features of the system. So if anyone wants to see us there, we've just updated our website, which will show you the framing systems we do. We start off with an entry level, which is called a VFX 50, which we're actually giving away one at the end of this program, I believe.
We are.
The VFX 50 is a standalone unit. It's portable, pack away. Ideal for someone if they're doing weddings or something like that, or they need to just take a shot of something, or you know, where they need a shot of someone and they can in post they can sort it out later. Sometimes you've got someone there, they're only there for a few hours, you can take a couple of shots of them doing what you need to do. So that's our entry level. We have which is basically one width of fabric wide, which is 1.5 meters wide, 2.4 meters high, and it's freestanding. You can put it up in a few minutes, and there you go. You can put it in your car. The next one up, it was a VFX 75, which is 2.5 meters square. Roughly. We can add skirts to them, we put flooring and all sorts of things. But if you want to look at our website, it'll give you a pretty good idea. But generally speaking, we do like to speak to people.
Yeah.
So if someone's got any queries at all, give us a call and speak to us so that we know exactly what you want. And we can then give you the solution you need.
Excellent. Mark, thank you very much. We very much appreciate the use of your green screen technology as well.
My pleasure.
It's worked brilliantly. And again, if people want to find out, if they can't get to BVE, which hopefully they will be able to come and see you in person, and they want to find you on the web, what's your web address?
Right, it's bristolvfx.com.
Brilliant.
And also at BVE, we will have one of TriCaster's machines there, which we'll be demonstrating live keying on our stand. So if you want to see an alternative view of how it's done and how easy it is to run, it must be simple because we can do it.
Excellent. Mark, thank you. We're going to get Chris back up again, but that's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Now, as Mark mentioned, we have been running a competition to win one of the VFX 50 green screens on our Facebook page. Loads of you entered, and we have randomly picked a winner, and I'm going to announce that now. So, here we go. The winner of the VFX 50 system, which I'm looking at down there. There it is. I can see it. You can't, but I can see it on the floor. The winner is Paul Craig, and he's from ViewTorch Pictures. So, Paul, congratulations. We will get that sent off to you as soon as possible. If you haven't already sent in your address, then please make sure you email us or tweet us or get us anyway, somehow you can, and we'll get that out to you. So congratulations to you, Paul. Hopefully you're watching. We're going to try and find a picture of it, and so people can see what it is that Paul has won. Also, we did say that we're going to give away, and while Chris is sorting himself out before he comes in and we answer questions and talk a little bit more about the TriCaster setup we've got here, we also randomly chose 5 people to win the Digital Film Making Handbook, which is written by Mark Brindle, who we spoke to earlier. And I've got the list of the winners here. And the first winner is Sam Pratt from Captive North. So congratulations, you're getting a book. David Hunter, who is from Moving Films. You too are getting a book. Alan Moore from Visually Speaking. Congratulations, book coming out to you. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this right. Bruce Shaler, you are a cameraman. Well done, mate. You're getting a book. And finally, so there's always somebody that you know. She follows me on Twitter. Emily Walder, you have just won yourself a book. So congratulations to you as well, Emily. It's amazing. There's always one name out of all these people that you end up knowing. It's bizarre. That happened on the Christmas one as well. So congratulations to all of you. You will get your prizes as soon as we can get them out to you. Right. I have a little piece of paper in my hand with some questions from the chat room. Next to me, I have Chris again. Hi, Chris. Welcome back. And we are going to start. Let's go in a little bit more detail here about what we've got going. Our friend Mark over there has now taken over on the TriCaster, and I will be testing his TriCaster knowledge in a minute. Because one thing I didn't know whether we could do, I'm going to do this quick. Let's get Greg. Greg, could you walk around and stand where James was standing? Mark, in a minute, let's see whether you can do it. Can you pull up, if you can, the wide shot for us? Let's see. That's the shot of it. So there you go. You can see that is Greg standing right next to me. Any chance of the keyed shot?
Mix Effect 5, I think it's on.
There you go. Mix Effect 5. Let's see whether we can do it. Only because I don't know whether we pulled the shot out yet. And look at that. Right. So look, if I go over there you go, Greg. See? So you can see, and look, in the background, there is a picture of the VFX 50. There we go. That has just been won by Paul. So we have this, and you can just see just over here is Chris's hand. So we can have this large studio. Greg gives a wave to camera. There you go. There's Greg in the distance, and literally, if we can cut back to this unkeyed shot that you beautifully pulled up for us beforehand, there you go. We are actually, let's shake hands. Hello, mate. Nice to see you. Well, we are right next door. So this is one of the beauties. We'll cut back to our normal. Yes, this is one of the beauties of TriCaster.
It is
just one of the things that you can do with TriCaster. You can create this massive virtual set in a tiny, and this is really tiny for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Probably
pushing the limits a little bit.
Just a little bit of arm space and thing. But it just shows it can be done.
It can be done, yes. Yeah.
So, funnily enough, we've got some questions here. The first one is, how much space do you need for a green screen studio?
More than this.
Well, again, if we cut back to that on that's a close-up. We can cut back to that on...
Camera 4.
There we go. Camera 4. This is what we've got. And I'm just going to move, which I wouldn't do. Okay, so this is not a big set. Okay, that's it. I'm on the edge there, and we're on the edge here. And we got 3 people, and we got that kind of large production studio look from that.
Yeah.
So, in answer to your question, how much space do you need? What's the sort of minimum you say you need to get something?
I would say, well, I mean, if you want to just, for example, have one person in a very large virtual space, but have them say, sat behind a desk, like obviously I'm here now, you would probably be looking at a piece of material or piece of fabric that would be, I would say, in the region of 1 meter to 1.5 meters.
Right.
To be honest with you, and so long as you have something that basically completely covers the person within the frame, so it covers my head and my shoulders. We can basically drop them into any size virtual environment. Right. We can pull the camera so far back. I mean, you could almost give the illusion that you're in a 50 feet, 100 feet, 300 feet studio, and you've just literally got someone with a very small piece of fabric behind them. So it can be incredibly small,
The other question. So now we know we can do this tiny little piece of green screen behind you. We can put you in the massive set. Can we do camera moves? Now, I know that if you were sitting over there, you can immediately go and demonstrate a camera move. I don't know. Can Mark this?
Yep.
Let's see. That's
so put you in. Yep.
Look, here we go. And hold on a second.
I've disappeared.
You've disappeared. But the beauty of this is, so this is what you're seeing here. The same camera. We're looking in the same camera that we were looking on the 2-shot.
Yep.
But you're not in shot. Yeah. So we've just literally we can manage what we see, and so we can zoom in. And we've done a single shot with one camera. And again, if Mark flicks us over to the 2-shot of me and Chris, like that, that is the same camera.
It's exactly the same camera.
Exactly the same camera.
So we can simulate a multi-camera shoot. With literally just having a single camera.
Yeah.
And you can have a different virtual environment. So you can take the same camera feed coming in, and then you can then distribute that to multiple virtual environments as well. Right. So that's how, again, when we went over to you in the chat room, that was exactly the same camera feed, but we can position you within the frame. We can have the chat feed feeding in from behind you. So we can do all of that running, with just this single camera. So with a single camera, you can simulate on the 8000 eight virtual cameras in 8 different virtual environments. So yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It is. I'm getting questions in my ear while I'm talking to you as well.
Okay.
One question was, obviously, what we've got here is a virtual desk.
Yep.
Somebody's saying, could you get rid of the virtual desk and just have a normal desk?
You could do, yeah. I mean, again, obviously, this is really to show the possibilities that you have with TriCaster. But no, indeed, it doesn't have to be a completely virtual environment. You know, you can have some, you can have a completely virtual elements. You can have some physical elements and some virtual as well. A lot of our customers, for example, will have a physical desk because they want to have papers and they want to have that level of interaction with the desk, maybe have laptops and so on and so forth. But then what they will do is they will then combine that with a completely virtual background as well. So then you kind of have, it just gives you a lot of flexibility. But obviously in this instance we have a completely virtual desk, and if we can go to the wide shot as well, you'll probably see it even does the reflections on the desk as well with my hands.
Yes, look.
So you see all the reflections and stuff going on as well.
Look, there's the paper. Look, you can even see that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, because that's generated. That's not a real reflection.
No.
And that's.
No, you see, we'll do all the perspective on the desking. We do all different surface textures. So if there's reflections or refractions, all of those elements are actually burnt, actually assembled and included with all the virtual sets as well. Yeah.
And we discussed this when we were setting up at some point. if you really wanted to push the boat out and you're prepared to set things up properly, you could have a green desk.
Yes.
And get your angles right. You can put things down on the virtual
desk
set
itself.
Yeah. You can then choose what that desk looks like.
It could be absolutely anything. It could be absolutely anything at all. And again, really, what having a virtual environment affords you is complete flexibility.
Yeah.
Because again, you could have the same, in effect, the same working space like we have here today, and we could generate 3 shows within the from that one studio in a same day, and we can very quickly with the click of a few mouse keys or the press of a few buttons, we can completely change that entire virtual environment, and we can do that literally within seconds.
Yep.
So it means that again, it affords you a lot of flexibility, and obviously ultimately saves you a lot of money as well.
Absolutely. Couple of questions coming in. We'll go on to some of these other ones later. One of them is about tweets. Have we been tweeting out, guys?
We have.
We have.
In fact, Matt, if you hit the grab button at the very top of the control surface, we'll push a tweet out. There we go.
There you go. So if you are following us on Twitter at BroadcastShow, you have just got yourself a picture of us on the set.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Which is something that the 8000 can do. It has a lot of sort of new media technologies and things in there. So you can start tweeting out and posting to Facebook and YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, everything that we've been doing with this show has been done with the TriCaster,
right,
including the mistakes that I've put to air as well. So we're doing the switching, we're doing the virtual sets, all the graphics, even the logo that you'll see up at the very up at the top up here. That's all been done with the TriCaster. We're doing all the video streaming with the TriCaster. We're also recording the show as well. We're tweeting from the system as well. So it really literally is everything that you need to do within the live production space, and everything that we're doing now to deliver this show is being done with the TriCaster.
Right. Somebody's asked about the TriCaster models. Again, let's quickly go over that. We are running the 8000, which is the flagship one.
It is.
There are other models that do basically what we've actually been showing today. Most of this can be done on the other models as well.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, again, all the TriCasters have these core technologies. So they will all do switching. They'll all have the virtual set technology. They'll all do the chroma keying. They'll all do the video streaming and the recording. And again, when if you go up or down the range, depending on which model you look at, you might not have some of the features.
Sure.
In terms of, for example, like tweeting, like having that social media integration. But a lot of the core functionality that we've been showing here today, we could achieve a very similar effect on even down to the TriCaster 40. So we could still drop us into a virtual environment. We could have a single camera and simulate a multi-camera shoot. We could record that video and we could stream that video out. So we can do all of that even with our entry level 40 system as well.
So let's just quickly go through the current range at the moment. We have the 40
TriCaster 40. Then we have which is our entry level, our desktop based system. Then we have our 3 professional models, which is the TriCaster 455, the TriCaster 855, and then obviously what we have here today is the 8000. And the reason I think the great thing about the 8000 and having it here today is really to demonstrate the possibilities of what is capable within a virtual environment.
And we have only tested a fraction of what the 8000 can do. We really could have.
We could have gone to
spent
town.
hours here. We could have gone to town with this and done all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So if you want to find out more about, especially what the 8000 can do, then obviously have a look at your website and contact you. One person has asked, do you offer training courses?
So NewTech has various ways in which we can get training out to our customers. So we produce training video content and training videos online. So in fact, I think it was last week or the week before, we pushed out training videos for all of the 8000 systems. So we have a full training available online, completely free, and it's all video based. So we have training for all the models, and then of course we also have a reseller channel that can offer training to our customers as well. So they can either offer one-to-one or one-to-many sessions. So if you purchase a system and you want to be trained on how to use it, we can provide that basically.
They have asked the question now we've gone through the model range. Can you give us some idea on pricing?
Okay. So the this will be interesting. So the pricing on the TriCaster 40 is £3,500, £3,499 plus VAT. There's an optional control surface. If memory serves me rightly, I think it's about 1,500. Then we've got the TriCaster 455, which is 15,000. Then we've got the 855, which is 22,000, and then the 23,000, no, 22,000, and then the 8,000, which is 30,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to confirm, the professional range, which is the 455 upwards,
Yep.
include the control surface.
Yes. So the 455, the 855, and the 8,000 all come with control surface as standard. Yes. Yep.
Brilliant. I think we are just about there on TriCaster. We've gone through a lot. If there's any more questions,
Anything at all?
obviously tweet them or email them. We can get them through to Chris. And I will almost certainly grab him at BVE and
Yes,
stick him on the show.
we are going to be at BVE. You know, obviously, if anybody wants to come by, have a live demonstration, which stand E25, if I remember rightly.
Somebody who remembered their stand, E25.
E25.
And I'm going to grab Chris at BVE and drag him on the show, whether he likes it or not, on the live show and talk about it, I'm sure. So obviously, get your questions out to us. We are coming to the end of the show. I think it's gone pretty well. Just to say, to give you some idea of how easy TriCaster is, Mark, who's doing the switching while Chris is up here, you're going to have to shout out here, Mark. How much experience of switching have you had until you used the TriCaster? None. In case you didn't hear that, that was none. Okay, so well done. Okay, so but it just goes to show you that you've got this magnificently powerful system that can be controlled by with a small amount of training. Somebody, even Mark over there, who's had no experience, and I suspect he's reasonably intelligent, but you know, even if he wasn't, he could have still been able to pick up and switch the TriCaster. So thank you, Mark. Well done, mate. That's it for this show. I'm just going to say a few thank yous, but just to remind you, the next 3 shows that are coming up are going to be, let's say, a little bit more diverse. They're coming live from BVE at Excel. We will be doing a show from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of February. I've got to do 3 days of live shows. And at other times in these days, just make sure if you tune into broadcastshow.com/live, you will see me wandering the show floor, being pursued by a crew, interviewing exhibitors at the show. So basically, from the start of the show to the end of the show, we are going to be sending you live content. It's going to be an interesting one, and you probably just want to have it sat there running all day just to see what happens. I know I would. So I'd like to say a huge thanks to a load of people who's helped us out. Let's just go through, Sean. We've got Shaw, who have provided these mics for us. So the audio kit. We've got, obviously, Mark from Bristol Paint and Bristol VFX, who have provided all the green screening stuff behind us. So, again, thank you, Mark. What can I say? New Tech, of course. New Tech have lent us the wonderful TriCaster 8000, which we have had a lot of fun playing with, and is a truly remarkable piece of equipment. Vinton provided us with the tripod, Serialite, who have provided us with a massive amount of lighting. We are very grateful. And Source Distribution, who have helped us out with other audio equipment. Stream UK, who we are streaming through as I speak to you. Tariam Satellite Communications, who of course provided us with our satellite dish sitting on the roof that gives us our internet connectivity. If you're at BVE, please drop by our stand. It is K10. Say hello. If you do, you'll be live on air, I'm sure, at some point, because everything we're doing at BVE is going to be live. So come and say hello. The next studio show will be here on the 20th of March. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, which is @BroadcastShow. We keep tweeting out the updates and let you know about new prizes and giveaways. In the meantime, we'll see you at BVE if you go. If not, we'll see you on the 20th of March for our live studio show. Meantime, thank you very much for watching, and good night.